Good morning, this is Mrs. Bennett, and we are going to discuss solving equations. And these are equations that have some simplifying to do before solving them, so they take more than one step. So here's your graphic organizer, and it has a couple questions here, and these are things that I want you to ask yourself as you are solving an equation. So here's our equation. 2 plus 5 times the quantity x plus 3 minus 3 times the quantity x minus 4 equals x plus 2 times the quantity 2x plus 4. You can see that this is very complex looking. Okay, so the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, do you have to distribute? And distributing happens when you have groups that you need to get rid of, and we have 3 groups here. So we're going to distribute. Okay, so this is using obviously the distributive property. And this should always come first if you have a complex set of operations. So if you take 5 times this quantity, you can see down here we get 5x plus 15. That's what that becomes. Negative 3 times these two, you get negative 3x and positive 12. 2 times 2x and 4, you get 4x and 8 over here. Okay, the next thing I want you to ask is, do you have to clean up? And by clean up, I mean use the commutative properties of addition and associative properties of addition to combine like terms. So for example, we have a 5x and a negative 3x over here, so we can rewrite this as 5x minus 3x, and then we have a 2 and a 15 and a 12 that can all go together. So I'm going to associate these two terms with x, and I'm going to associate these 3 terms that are just numbers. And then on the right side of the equation, I have an x and a 4x that I can associate together. Okay. Once you do that, you get this over here. The 5x minus 3x becomes 2x. The 1x plus 5x on the right, or 1x plus 4x on the right side becomes 5x. And then all the number terms become 29, and then we have 8 left on this side. Okay. So we're using the same properties that we've always used, just to simplify each side. Now that the left side and the right side are simplified, the next question you ask yourself is, do you have variables on both sides? And if you do, you're going to use the addition or subtraction property of equality. So you're either going to add on both sides or subtract on both sides to get the variable term with its like term. So in this case, I would subtract 2x from both sides, which would 2x minus 2x gives you 0, and 5x minus 2x gives you 3x, which you can see over here. So then we're left with 29 on the left and 3x plus 8 on the right. Now it's just like the ones you've been solving before. So is the variable isolated? So you go to the variable side, and then you use the add or subtract property of equality. Basically, you're getting your like terms together by subtracting 8 in this case on both sides. So over here we get 21 equals 3x. Now, is the variable multiplied? Is the next question. And you can put in here, or is it being divided? Because sometimes it is being divided. Basically, does it have a coefficient in front of it? So if that's the case, then you are going to use the multiplication or division property of equality. So like in this case, we are multiplying by 3, so we would divide by 3 on both sides. We would get x equals 7. Now there's one more thing that I did not put on this graphic organizer, and that is that you need to check your solution. So draw yourself a little box here, or a bubble. You need to check it. And to check it, you just take your solution, which in our case is 7, and you put it back into the original equation. And I'm going to show you how to do that quickly on your calculator. Okay, so here's our calculator. Basically, every place we see an x, we're going to substitute in our solution. But since each side is very complicated, we're going to do it in 2 different lines on the calculator. Okay, so the first side, 2 plus 5, parenthesis. Here comes our 7 plus 3, minus 3, parentheses, and then our solution again is 7, and then subtract 4 and the parenthesis. And we are at this equal sign right here, so we are going to hit enter, and we get 43 on the left side. Now we're going to make sure that it matches on the right side, because an equation should be equal on the left and the right. So we have 7 plus 2, parentheses, 2 times 7, plus 4, and the parenthesis. And we get 43 on both sides. So that means our solution is correct. And we can give it a little check mark right here. Okay, you are now ready to try the examples on the bottom. So again, work through these questions. Do you have to distribute? Do you have to clean up using commutative and associative properties to combine like terms? Do you have variables on both sides that you need to either add or subtract from both sides to get your variable term together? Then, do you need to isolate the variable by adding or subtracting one of the numbers to the other side? And then, is your variable being multiplied or divided? So use the multiplication or division property of equality. And then, of course, check it.